1, 2, 3! Yeah, that Banks gets it.
This is your Banks Insider for June 5th. I'm Jay, and this week has been jam-packed. Let's get started. In our real review, we check in with Zane from Texas Street Society. It's a YouTube channel. He got two of his buddies together for a street race. One friend had a tuned and deleted Duramax L5P, and the other friend had the very same truck, but with a Derringer tuner and Ram-Air intake. So there wasn't much in the way of data, but the races are pretty fun to watch, especially because both drivers were so stunned just how fast the Derringer truck was. Suffice it to say, the Derringer owner left with a smile on his face. He spent a lot less money and smoked the other dude with his 50-state legal truck. Watch the full video on Banks' YouTube and Facebook feeds. In this week's update, we sneak into the Banks CAD room just on the other side of our studio here, where they engineered the answer to flat-back differential covers with a product that was not only well thought out, but actually reduces oil temps thanks to its Ram-Air scoops. And it reduces viscous horsepower loss thanks to its perfect fluid dynamics. Well, the requests have been pouring in and we hear you loud and clear. When is your differential cover coming? Well, as you may know, we're now in production with covers that fit 1985 to 2019 Ford Sterling 12-bolt axles with 10 1/4 to 10 1/2 ring gears. So what's next? The Dana 80. With all the initial design work completed, final tweaks are being made to the Dana 80 CAD model. These include incorporating the optimal fluid flow paths for proper lubrication distribution and Banks' patented Ram-Air scoops that redirect air through its long, thin heat radiation fins, providing way better cooling over flatbacks. It also has the same features and benefits current Banks Ram-Air differential cover owners enjoy, the kind that came from 18 months of scientific testing. This new Dana 80 Banks Ram-Air differential cover will work with 1988 to 2016 Ford F350 and 94 to 02 Ram 25 and 3500 trucks. We're still a few months away from the release date, sorry to tease you. In our iDash on the road, we check in with Jimmy Sharon and his engine swap project. You know, engine swaps are as hot as ever, and for Jimmy, his Frankenstein monster definitely looks like a fun project. His 1989 Chevy Blazer is now Cummins powered. Out went the Blazer's 350 small block and in went a B140 mechanically fuel-injected 4-cylinder Cummins. The pint-sized Cummins engine doesn't make much power in its stock form, but don't worry. To reach Jimmy's horsepower goal, he knew he had to have more of everything. He put in larger injectors, larger delivery valves, bumped up the timing, and made AFC modifications. When he was all done, the engine ran smoky, which meant that it had more than enough fuel, but not enough air. His solution was to add a second turbo to the mix in a compound configuration. That helped with his smoke problem, but his EGTs were borderline insane. To improve his manifold air density and lower the EGTs, Jimmy went from a single air-to-air intercooler to dual liquid-cooled cores between his stages and the intake. This dramatically lowered his temperatures and gave him the power that he wanted. Since the engine swap is totally custom and mechanical, there's no computer to control the engine and no OBD2 for him to tap into for information. To keep track of his engine's vitals, Jimmy uses an iDash DataMonster with two Banks 4-channel analog sensor modules and two 4-channel thermocouple modules, and he'll soon be adding a 5th module. This allows him to keep tabs on the compressor outlet temps, intercooler temps, water temp going into the intercoolers, intake manifold, and loads of EGT readings. All readings are recorded on the iDash, which help Jimmy not only keep an eye on things, but help with future mods. If you're in the Tallahassee, Florida area, be sure to keep an eye out for Jimmy's monster. Next up is our dealer spotlight. The snow has melted in West Kelowna, Canada, and people have been anxious to get their trucks up and running and back on the road. Jordan Powell of Dirty Diesel Customs is happy to help these anxious owners fulfill their pent-up truck dreams. Jordan bought Dirty Diesel Customs from his friend in 2011. What he got from his pal was the business name that was established back in 2008, and he also got what remained of a very small parts inventory. But what Jordan thought was a cool way to get cheap truck parts and do side projects quickly snowballed into something else entirely. Much to his surprise, the phone kept ringing with people wanting work done. Jordan already had a day job as a field mechanic repairing engines for big natural gas compressors, but with the continued demand for truck repairs, he decided to bail on his job and opened a little 1,200 square foot one-bay shop. So a few years ago, his media manager, Josh, started to work on the company website and build up their e-com. 5 buildings later, the business that inhabited that one little lift shop has grown into a 10,000 square foot building housing 6 bays, a showroom, a warehouse, engine dyno, full engine blueprinting facility, and more online sales than you can shake a keyboard at. Dirty Diesel Custom specializes in diesel and has all the right tools for the job. They're a one-stop shop for diesel repair, maintenance, engine work, and full truck customization, and they routinely take their company drag truck out to competitions. For Jordan, and his little scheme to get cheap parts for his truck turned into a full-time career, offering great service and the ability to ship all over Canada. If you're in the beautiful lakeside town of West Kelowna, be sure to hit up Jordan and his crew. For Fan Focus, we check in with Bob Elliott and his 2006 Ford 6-liter Power Stroke. Not only is it an Amarillo Special Edition with 73,000 miles, which ain't much, but aside from the Banks Big Hoss performance package, he's never really experienced any of the problems that plagued other 6-liter engines. Bob installed the Big Hoss bundle back in 2017 when he started towing the trailer that he bought for family trips, and to say that he was impressed would be a complete understatement. There was an immediate night and day difference between stock and the Banks system when towing, and the truck returned even better than expected fuel economy. I towed in level 3 and 4 the entire time. It was a heavy trailer, especially when we filled the tank with water. So Bob loves the truck and the power that he's gotten from the Banks system, and professes that he'll find a way to be buried in that prized yellow truck if at all possible. That's cool and gross. Next up in our time machine, we jump back to 1986 to see a 1932 Deuce. Maybe you've seen this one before. Mike Maris's award-winning 1932 Ford Coupe was a street rodder's dream, with every nut and bolt polished to absolute perfection. In 1986, both Hot Rod Magazine and Street Rodder thought it was so well crafted that they each gave it full coverage. The unique thing that set it apart from your average street rod was the Gale Banks Engineering twin-turbocharged 302-inch small block with turbos that protruded from the engine compartment just over the front fenders. Mike's engine was fully blueprinted by Banks and featured a Hank the Crank forged crankshaft, Banks-owned twin-turbo pistons, Carrillo connecting rods, ported iron heads, a Banks camshaft with a Holley 800 CFM carburetor, and that car ran a Doug Nash 5-speed trans with a Ford 9-inch rear end fitted with 300 gears. The Deuce was not only beautiful, but she could sprint to 100 miles per hour with zero effort. Stay glued to our Facebook and Instagram feeds, and be sure to subscribe to the Banks Power YouTube and Banks Insider YouTube channels to keep up on the latest goings on here at Banks. We are in, we're working, and we've been pumping out performance for over 60 years.
Which one do you want?
60.
No, I'll get it for you. This one?
Okay.
Yeah! It's too heavy.